Let's go. Hey, it's another episode of Around the Reef, episode 2. Oh, man. I think we got to start out by saying thank you. I was so surprised, how many people actually watched the first episode. I was like, holy crap, people are actually watching this? What? That's kind of cool. You'd be surprised, you just put out stuff and I think people are just oh, I'll give this guy a chance, and they just click it, and they give it a chance. But some people actually listen pretty far. It's pretty crazy because you think I'm just yelling into the void, but really, there's people that listen. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. It's crazy. It's crazy. People care, or I don't know, but that's awesome. So thank you for that one. I always wanted to do a podcast, but I was just wonder, would anybody listen? Does anybody care? And frankly, I think people are just curious. I don't know. They're just curious. I think some people genuinely do like sports, but here's the thing. I realize I like sports, but sports are not the only thing about life. There's a lot of things about life. Sports, when you really break it down, they don't mean a lot. I hate to say it. I mean, I do believe some things are more than a game. It's more than a game, but sports are really just a way to escape. They bring happiness to people's lives. You're just working all day and then you can't wait to go home and watch the game, or it's something you do as a family. My family, my dad really loves hockey. So my family, I'm not a huge hockey guy myself. And my mom obviously wasn't really a hockey person, but, it's just kind of something that we can do as a family. My dad cares about, and we've all kind of become fans. So that's one way that sports can unite people. It's just, hey, it's something to do, So I know a lot of people that they weren't really into sports, so they got away from it for a while, and now they're kind of coming back. And it's a great time to come back. There's so many awesome sports going on. Kind of moves on into the main topic that I want to talk about sports-wise, which is there was a debut yesterday. They're calling him the greatest prospect of all time, a NBA basketball player. This guy, his name's Victor Wembanyama. He's 7'4". He's huge. This is the biggest motherfucker I've ever seen in my life. This guy is so giant. They call him an alien because he's so tall. And everybody was saying oh man, this guy's gonna be the greatest thing ever. And he grew up in France. So the only footage that we have of this guy is just really grainy, kind of shitty video of him just dunking on French guys. And everyone's all right, we'll see. We'll see if he can do that in the NBA. Let me tell you, he can. This guy is insane. I watched him, his first game was last night. It was on ESPN. And yeah, no, this guy's legit. He's going to be the next LeBron. He's going to be the next LeBron. He's just, look, basketball, that's the reason I never played basketball. I'm 5'10", I'm not dunking on anybody. This guy is 7'4". When was the last time you saw a 7'4" guy? And he's coordinated. He's coordinated. He's fast. He can shoot. He has basketball skill. So, I'm excited. He played pretty well last night. He picked up some fouls, so he's in foul trouble, whatever. They'll figure that one out. But, you don't see people that are 7'4" that often. It's very rare. And when you do see them, they end up being really good. There's some dudes that were 7 foot in the past in the NBA, and they weren't that good because they were just super uncoordinated. they sucked, whatever. This guy is pretty coordinated. He's he's very flexible. He's like, hopefully he can stay injury free, hopefully. But you know, it's cool. Gosh darn it, the Spurs are going to be good again. As a Laker fan, that's kind of tough. You know, I was kind of enjoying when the Spurs sucked because they're always good. Like throughout my whole life, the Spurs have always been a good team. And, you know, they're back now. So, darn it. But good for them. Actually, it was a couple of years ago, I went to San Antonio for like a work thing. And I did the river walk and stuff like that. It's a cool town. If you're ever down in Texas and you know, you just want some margaritas by the Riverwalk, I mean, that's a good time, man. That's a good time. You can get some like fajitas or whatever you like good Mexican food, like Tex-Mex, and a margarita by the Riverwalk. That's a fun time. Like San Antonio is cool. They have the Alamo. I don't know. It's just like a White House, but it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to see. It's like a landmark. I'm not a huge Texas fan myself, but thing about Texas is just it's a wild place. It's a wild. They call it the Wild West. It is true. Texas is interesting. They get hit with like tornadoes all the time. They get hit with tornadoes. They get hit with crazy weather. So, if you ever want like a laugh and you like sports, type in Charles Barkley, San Antonio, and he just like he just shits on the whole city. But super funny. But about the pod though, like yeah, I was surprised. I was like, holy crap! Like people watch this thing. So I was like, man, well, I got to get a logo. That's the thing I'm missing. I need a logo. So I got a logo coming, guys, for Around the Reef, for this thing that we're cooking up. Obviously, I got my fish tank in the background. It's kind of the theme of Around the Reef. So yeah, we're getting a logo coming up. So that's exciting. And I was surprised, like, some of the people that like reached out, they're like, "Oh man, this is super cool." But it was like people that probably don't care about sports that much, and it made me realize, like, you know, like I want it to be about sports for sure because I like sports. But like I started off the show, like there's way more to life than sports. Sports are just an escape. But really, I get kind of scared when I see some of my friends that are trying to escape all the time, or they feel like the only way they can escape is through abusing like alcohol or any sort of drug, or you know, or just being maybe not escaping and just being sad. And you really shouldn't want to escape that much. You know, you spend a lot of your life working, and you might as well do something with your work that you love doing. That's really the best, is when you're doing something that you love every day and you get good at it because you like it and you can't wait to do whatever you do again. Like I'm sure like athletes know what I'm talking about, but like the flow state, you know what I'm talking about? Like when you lose track of time. How many times have you been doing something that you liked and you were like, man, time flies when I'm having fun. That's what I'm talking about. It's like you lose sense of time. You're so lost in like what you're doing that that's really what life's all about, I would say. I think, you know, I was thinking yesterday, I was like, man, I think I have the secret to life. I think I have the secret to life, and I'm going to share it with you on Around the Reef, baby. I know what it is. Because people say, like, what's the meaning of life? Whatever. And then when I was younger, I was like, well, the meaning of life is to be happy. But what is that? That's kind of broad. It's like, well, what makes you happy? And that's kind of like, no one talks about that. But I'm going to tell you, you have to have a purpose in life. Straight up. Like, you have to have a purpose in life. That's what, because if you just like think of all the things that throw you off, like, oh man, I got laid off from work, or a loved one passes away, or I got dumped, or I'm bummed out because of something in the news. It's really easy to get thrown off. So you need something that grounds you. And it's like a skill that you're trying to learn, or like an art that you're making, or you get lost in your business, trying to get really good at what you do, like professionally. That's really the ticket, and I feel like so many like young people, and I volunteer myself, like I've made this mistake, but so many people just do stuff because like they think their parents like wants them to do it, or they feel like they need to make money really quick, so they take a job they don't like doing just because it has a nice starting salary, and maybe they have a ping pong table in the freaking break room and you like that, or they have pizza or casual Friday, like any like thing that like suckers you into doing a job that you really don't like doing. You gotta watch out for that. And I think at a certain, like everybody does, like everybody thinks like, oh man, I gotta make a ton of money like really fast. But really, that's not the best way to go about life. The best way to go about life is to find the thing that you want to do. It's like, because so many people aren't doing it. And honestly, like when I say like, find the thing that you want to do, everybody that's listening right now, like what's that thing that you just thought of in your head? Like in my heart, like this is what I want to do. Don't lie to yourself, don't cheat yourself. Like what is that thing? I'll volunteer. Like me, like when I was young, I played baseball, and I love baseball, still do. I felt like I was lucky as a kid because I found the thing that I was passionate in. And I just worked really, really hard when I played, like, practicing, weight room, just, it was a travel, like it was hard stuff, and I did it I started playing when I was little, like 6, and I played all the way till I was 21. But just like, it's almost like that thing that, like, I'm not super religious or anything, but like, it almost felt like God wanted me to play baseball. And that always kept me going, even when times got tough. And, lately I picked up guitar and started playing some music. And in a weird way, I feel the same. It's like I feel like God wants me to play guitar. And everybody's different, It's like, what's that thing that maybe popped into your head? Like, what does God want you to do? Only you know. And don't lie to yourself, Like where I come from, if you don't play sports when you're young, you're a wussy. You're like, something's wrong with you. It's but that's silly, and I'll give you that. Look, as a young person, like, you can be affected by peer pressure for sure. But once you get past a certain age, it's like, dude, like you gotta grow out of what people think of you. Like, oh, I don't want to follow my dreams because fucking Johnny from 2nd grade doesn't, or he would think it's weird or whatever. It's like, yo, you're a loser for even letting these people like hold you back. Like what? Like you have to stay true to yourself and do what you want to do. And don't care what anybody else thinks, you know, or else you'd never do anything. So I just like encourage everybody to follow their dreams. I mean, you know, you're not getting any younger, really. Like, and you have to understand, like, if you want to start something, you're gonna have to suck at it for a long time before you become good. You know, like anybody knows, like if you're trying to learn an instrument, for example, you can pick it up. I think the step number one is deciding what you want to do, but then becomes the next step becomes the hard part, which is you got to practice a lot. You got to, and it's not like you can speed up how better you get. You can definitely like speed it up, the process, but ultimately you are going to have to put in years of work. So if you start like, or I'm saying like, if you keep putting off like, oh, I'm going to start like in a couple months, or I'm going to start when this happens, or when this clears up or whatever. It's like, look, you ain't getting any younger. And frankly, like you're going to look back at, like in a couple months or whatever. And you're like, man, like, I wish I would have started back then. I would have already had a couple more months of practice under my belt. Instead, I'm just starting now and I suck because, you know, you just got to, I just encourage anybody, like, if you have that thing that you want to do, go ahead and do it. You know, if you need some dude yelling into the void like me to encourage you to keep going, this is the sign from God. Like, hey, you, do that thing, you know, but you never hear that. You know, so many people don't do what they want to do. So I encourage you to do that thing. You know, I'm lucky enough to I consider myself friends with one of the most famous motivational speakers of all time. This dude is insane. I'm not going to name him yet. I might actually. You know what? Screw it. I will name him because I'm reading his book now. It's actually right here. I got some Tim Story. Tim Story is a legendary motivational speaker, and he actually lives in my like building. So I've kind of become like friends with him and stuff. He talks about this stuff too. It's like he says, like, you have to live your utmost life, and there's so many choices that get made for you, but in the end, it's like, it's kind of hitting at the same point. It's like, you have to take control of your own life. So look, everybody knows that, but I think it's important to keep saying it because frankly, not many people actually follow through. Everybody knows, oh, what do you mean? Of course I should be living my utmost life or living my, achieving my true potential, but not many people do. So, you know, I guess I want to say one last thing and wrap up episode 2. You know, like for myself, I think it comes when, like, you make a change in your life when you really decide, like, I gotta make a change. And it has to come from within, okay? Like somebody telling you, oh man, you gotta do this, it's not really gonna have the same effect. But when it comes from inside you, when you really hit like rock bottom and you're ready to make a change, you can. I think like for like my own story, like I had like a rough thing that happened to me in January of this year. And, you know, it was one of the first times in my life that I really had to take a look at myself and be like, man, like maybe I'm not as cool as I thought I was. and I gotta get better. I gotta get better. You know, you have to make a choice. It's like, hey, am I gonna continue being the shitty person that I was, or am I going to, you know, make a change for the better? And I didn't really know where to start. Honestly, I was like, I felt like I didn't have a purpose in life. I hated the way I looked. Um, you know, shit wasn't going good, yo. I'm trying to stay positive, but like it wasn't good. It was tough. And, you know, I didn't know where to start, but I was like, all right, look. One place that you can always start at when you get low in life is lean into physical fitness. I'm a big proponent of that. You know, think about like the way like humans have evolved. Like back in the day, there was no fat like cavemen. There was no fat cavemen because like they had to like if you wanted to eat, you had to hunt. You had to go out and kill a woolly mammoth, or you had to go like chase down something and eat it. You know, or at least if you were gathering berries, that required some burning of calorie, you know, so nobody was like fat back in the day. But nowadays, like you ever hear this term like the modern man? It's like this guy that just like sits on his couch all day and he plays video games, and then he like when he gets hungry he just goes beep, 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 and he orders like Uber Eats or something, and then all of a sudden a pizza shows up at his front door. Like that's sedentary. That's a sedentary life, and you're gonna get fat that way. And then I don't know about you guys, but like for me, like depression, it never really kicks in during the day. It's always at night. It's always at night when I haven't worked out, and I'll be sitting on my couch sometimes at night when I'm by myself, and I'm like getting all depressed, and I'm like, man, like, because I kind of know myself, like, why am I depressed? Like, I'm not really a sad person. Like, what is going on? And then I realized, like, oh, it's because I didn't work out today. 100%. That's what's going on. So, you know, like, I remember earlier this year, I was like, you know what? I'm starting there. I'm going to work out every day. Every day. I got a lot of ground to cover, so I'm going to work out every single day. Of course, I took one day off per week because I have to, because you shouldn't work out every day. But I was going hard like 6 days a week, you know, like my workout routine is like I would go to the gym. First thing I'd do is I'd hop on the treadmill and I'd go 45 minutes on the treadmill, and then from the treadmill I'd go to the weight room, and then I would get on the machines, like the chest press machine and like the shoulder press machine, and just every machine. I would just like hammer them out. I wasn't too like careful with it. I just go hard in there. And then I got into swimming, so I would swim like 20 minutes a day. So, and I did that for like 4 months. And I also started eating better because, okay, so you can work out it was the first time in my life I really combined like working out and eating right. And because if you do one or the other, you're not gonna get the same result. But anyways, I did that, and it's like a two-pronged attack to turn your life around. I think the first one is fitness and nutrition. You have to get your nutrition right too. It's like, how many times have you been like sitting? What am I trying to say? Like at night when you're like depressed, and then you're like, man, I don't feel good, and then you realize like, oh, I ate like shit today. It's like, no wonder you're depressed. You ate a bunch of Twinkies or you just ate like a bunch of shit. Honestly, a good diet is like high in protein and like low calorie. People eat too many calories these days. It's really easy to get a lot of calories. Carbs necessarily aren't bad. It's calories that really get you. Calories are just like, it's like a grand total of like the density of the food that you ate, basically. But because the way you gain or lose weight is if like you're either in a caloric deficit or in a caloric surplus. So you ever hear people that are like, I have a really high metabolism. That means like they're just like base, like burning of calories is high. Whereas like someone with a low metabolism, they don't really burn a lot of calories. And if they eat a lot and their metabolism is low and they're not working out, they're going to be in a caloric surplus. Like if you only burn, let's just say 2,000 calories a day, but you eat 3,000 calories a day, well, that 1,000 surplus is just going to add up. And over time, you're going to look in the mirror one day and you're like, damn, I'm kind of fat. Like, what the hell? So definitely got to combine the two, like working out and eating right. And then I would say, like I was saying, like a two-pronged thing. The second front of that is find something you're passionate in and do that. And get lost. Do something where like you honestly don't know how much time has passed, and you get in that flow state and you find yourself like getting better at something you like. Because a lot of like having like happiness and having purpose is when you can honestly look back and say like, I've come a long way. You know, I'm proud of how good I am at whatever you do. Like if you're a good painter, if you like painting, you're like, you suck at painting when you begin and you are bad for a long time. And then eventually one day you make a good painting and you're like, man, it's actually not bad. I remember when I sucked and now I'm kind of good. Like that gives you ultimate satisfaction. And I think if you do those two things, like if you work out, eat right, and then you are working on something you're passionate in and getting better at it, I think that's really like the key to life, as far as I know. But yeah, no, I think that's a good episode too, man. Trying to like say things that can help people, and so they're not just like listening to this and they're like, wow, I wasted my time. But I really do appreciate anybody that made it this far, I guess, and like continues to listen. I'm going to keep hammering out these podcasts. And I'm really, really thankful for everybody that has listened so far. I was really surprised. And I'm going to keep doing it. So thank you. Thank you.